Today, I have Georg Ell, the CEO of Phrase, who's coming with some interesting news. So Georg, tell us a little bit about Phrase.
So Phrase is the world's most highly acclaimed SaaS localization software suite for enterprises of all sizes. We work with startups to the largest companies in the world, and also language service providers to allow them to automate their workflows and their translation pipelines to grow their businesses to new audiences in their current markets and to new markets around the world.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you for making the time and giving us a chance to share some of what we're announcing this week. And shall I go straight into it? It's really an exciting week for us. We've been looking forward to this moment for some time, and we have some really cool news to share. So, as you know, in September last year, at the end of September, we announced the new brand, Phrase, and the coming together of two companies with amazing history in our industry, but under this single brand, single identity. And we also launched the concept of a suite, the Phrase suite. And I think when we talked about it back then, we already laid the groundwork for a lot of what we're announcing today. So this concept that localization should be a layer, that sort of backbone that goes through every department inside a company and has multiple components to it. We call that a new era. So today, I think what we're doing is taking the new era concept forward, and we really think we're setting a new standard for what localization software should be and what customers of localization software can expect. So we have the biggest wave of releases that Phrase has done for quite some time, with two super exciting headline acts, and then a number of sort of supporting acts in the festival lineup for what we're releasing this week. And I should say all of this is made possible because we're starting to operate in what we call a new cadence, and this is something we've talked to a lot of our customers about. How we are organizing ourselves, bringing enterprise rigor and confidence to how we're releasing software. So a lot of what we are announcing to the world now, we've kind of teased and trailed with some of our key customers, even going back several months, because we've had the confidence to know what we're building and when it's coming, and so on. So I actually emailed some of those customers late last night to say, you remember that dinner we had back in, and what I said was coming. Well, look out, this week it's sort of coming to life, which is just it's a good feeling. So I'll go into our two headline acts first of all. So the first thing is what we're going to call Phrase Orchestrator.
Orchestrator. Okay.
Phrase Orchestrator is a no-code graphical drag-and-drop user interface for customers of all sizes and any kind of customer, whether it's an enterprise or an LSP, to build workflows that can be multi-stage, branching, if this, then that workflows that can draw on any of the features and functionalities across our suite. So across Phrase TMS, Phrase Strings, and calling in Phrase Translate, like very exciting ability for customers on a self-service basis to be able to create these very highly complex, many stages of workflow. In the past, the sort of before, if you like, this would have required a team of developers. And many of our customers have, 4 developers, 1 QA, a user experience person, a product manager, maybe a project manager, and they have to go and get those resources from inside their organization. They then have to wait for them to be available. They then have to ask them to build something. Maybe it goes
many internal stakeholders who need to agree.
A lot of stakeholders are all fighting for those precious resources. So they have to get agreement, as you say, and then they build a version of a thing that this customer is trying to achieve, and then hopefully that's right. And it's already some months have gone by, and potentially tens or hundreds of thousands of euros of cost associated with that. And they've done one thing. Now all of that effort can be done in an hour.
So what you're essentially saying, Georg, is that in the past, where companies would be having challenges with migrating from one environment to another because of the complicated setup that they had, would be a no-brainer today, because when they start working with Phrase, they would be able to orchestrate their setup easily within your environment. So all those very complicated and I would say even very old setups that they have because they invested a lot of money through their internal processes and convincing the internal stakeholders. They would rather stick to what they have so far. Today, they can walk in and start using your environment. That sounds like a dramatic change to the industry.
Yeah.
It's very hard for me to convince myself to understand how simple this will be for the individual users. So can you give us a little bit of an insight over how is that going to look like?
Yeah, for sure. So, and I think your use case is absolutely right in that, whatever localization suite one is coming from, it will have its certain own ways of doing things, and customers have built their processes around that. And indeed, they may have historically seen that as a sort of a blocker to change. Now they can come to Phrase knowing they've got the confidence to recreate those processes in a sort of custom way for their environment, but also to create new processes. And in the past, they would have either had their internal developers, or they might have come to us and said, you know what, it'd be really great if your platform could just do X. And then we would have to take that into consideration. It would go into development queue, it would have to be weighed up against other priorities, et cetera, et cetera. Now, self-service, and to your question around how easy this is to do, in the first version, it still helps to have a good working knowledge of our platform. Very quickly, we're going to try and make this kind of so that literally anybody can pick it up. But it is a case of think of any feature or a capability in either our strings or TMS platforms, pull those in, like search, find, physically, graphically, pull them into a workflow, align those workflows into the linear or the branching format that you're looking for, put in your identifiers and publish. We also have, of course, when we launch this, we'll have a bunch of training materials around it. Our own solution architecture team, as part of our premium support offering, will help some of our larger enterprise customers to build those workflows and save them. And we have some really interesting, I think, exciting ways we can see this developing in future. So it'll get easier and easier to use, and also be able to pull in third-party systems. So with our first version, no code, graphical, helps to have a good working knowledge of our system, and just pulls our own features and functionalities. In a version coming later this year, really very limited working knowledge of our systems required, and pull in third-party data as well. So I think it is genuinely groundbreaking, this level of customization, flexibility, and it gets better when you start to imagine this in combination with some of our other bits as well. So I'll go on to the second headline act around analytics. So for a long time, we've offered a sort of standard reporting suite that you couldn't really make many adjustments to. And then we had our Snowflake connector that allowed people to get a fire hose of raw data, and their business analytics team, the business intelligence or data scientist team would then, combine that data with their own dashboarding software and build, these custom things. And again, it was a heavy requirement for internal developer resource. So what we're announcing this week is Phrase Analytics, which has its standard offering and then its advanced offering. And in that, we'll allow for custom dashboards by business users on a self-service basis. No need for developers. Again, now the localization teams, the business owners, the business stakeholders who are trying to report that business value can build custom dashboards themselves, no code required, with a high degree of customization and flexibility. So super excited for this to drive better quality insights, better efficiencies, to help with testing and sort of A/B testing. Still going to offer the Snowflake connector, and I can see a lot of our customers doing both, because of course through that you can do a mashup with your own business data. But in addition to that, which maybe requires that internal developer resource and a bit more time and complexity, for a business stakeholder that just wants to be able to create a dashboard for themselves quickly or to share with their internal stakeholders, they now have that capability. And so that's exciting.
That's beautiful. And for us, especially as a company who focuses on data, Nimdzi Insights, and we're delivering our Nimdzi 100 very soon, and we're collecting all of that information and finding the right dashboards to seeing stuff. This is a great match. I would pick for me, the most important topic there for localization managers or users of your environment is really to present their results to their bosses, right? And having those great dashboards and great results and the way how they can present not only why is localization an investment rather than a cost, they could be going deeper into the data and presenting further on where is their department going towards to. Georg, this is a great initiative. I would say we're hearing from our end when we're doing these consulting projects, or we're picking the technology or the right localization setup. We're hearing more and more interest from the C-level people with very large corporations into localization space. What they're missing is data, essentially. So I'm seeing this as a very, very well thought process. So congratulations on that. And I hope you will be progressing towards that. Maybe if I can ask, what are the next plans? What can we expect in the coming season, other than the simplification of the usage, as you said? Is there anything else?
There's lots to come, and I think so. To touch on a few things, one is I think the power or the flexibility or the innovation that's possible with what we've talked about so far is really exciting, because the potential so imagine a world where you combine a sophisticated phrase TMS environment with its translation memories and its corpus of knowledge with Orchestrator, machine translation, and analytics working together to do high-scale, quick turnaround A/B testing, automation for UGC, automation for help desk and knowledge base, rapid multiple-engine machine translation iterations to reduce human post-editing to really have super high-quality machine translation results with Phrase Translate. Also, one of our supporting acts is new languages for our Phrase Next MT offering. So we continue to have that ability to pick the best engine, including now our own engine. The evolution of machine translation at Phrase is happening very quickly. We've actually just recruited a new director for machine translation. She's extraordinary. She joined us a couple of weeks ago. We're doubling the size of our machine translation team. Oh, wow. She joins a new chief product officer who also joined us a few weeks ago, and she comes from an extraordinary machine translation background, both from outside of the industry. So we're combining the history, the knowledge, the experience of so many people at Phrase, many decades of experience in the team, with some outside-in thinking, with some amazing machine learning and machine translation experience. So we're really excited to have Simone and Yao, our chief product officer and director of MT, in the team now. So machine translation is definitely in our future. So in the next cadence release in May, and the next one after that in sort of late summer, early autumn, we're going to see developments in machine translation around how much to say, definitely a broadening, definitely more customization, and maybe some training. It's going to get very, very interesting very soon. And what we think is so special in the enterprise is the combination of strings TMS, translation memory, with machine translation, customization, training to do some extraordinary things. Combining all of that with this orchestration layer and analytics, it's that combination of Phrase TMS, Phrase strings, Phrase Orchestrator, Phrase Translate, Phrase Analytics that we've never seen in this industry, all in one suite. And that's why we think that's why we lay claim to setting a new standard. So I think lots more coming around that sort of ease of use, self-service, and automation. If I could touch on some of the other supporting acts this week. So this week, we also have the all-new strings editor with a ton more context, true multilingual view, new batch actions, dark mode. Lots of people ask for that. We have a new Figma preview, which is live preview. So it's not static now. It's fully live for even more context. And a lot of customers have said to me they switched to Phrase strings because we offer better context to the translator. So I had a customer was telling us how with one of our competitors, they were using Notion to share context for the translation, whereas with us, they just do it all inside Phrase strings. So context is key. We're announcing a partnership and a connector into Braze, the marketing automation platform. We're the first of the major enterprise localization software suites to offer that connector. So that's really exciting. Lots of our significant customers asked for that. So they're going to be very happy with automated connections to specific email templates or content blocks. We have ICU messages in TMS, which is going to enable language-specific rules and translations. mentions and in-app notifications. So translators can be notified when jobs are done, or go and look here so you don't miss anything. And then we have some improvements in how we manage translation memory metadata. So at the segment level, when leveraging multiple different TMs, some customers have multiple TMs. And then we have some very niche kind of, well, I say niche, they're complex and they're probably beyond my understanding around how we manage internal fuzzies inside translation memory, like super, super cool stuff. So there's this like whole roster of supporting acts.
Amazing. I definitely see a huge progress and a huge investment from your end and from your team developing a unique tool. So congratulations for that, going definitely towards the right direction. Georg, thank you very much for sharing the Phrase Orchestrator that will help us orchestrating the setup, and for introducing the new Phrase analytic tool that will help us with generating the right dashboards to be able to see the insights that we're looking for. Thank you very much for today, and we look forward to hearing from you very soon again.
Thanks, Joseph. All the best.